Good, man.
Okay,
Had
you
a
had
rough night
you
of
had a
sleep.
route.
Rough
You had a
night of
lot
sleep.
of yeah, but you had a lot of powerful energy too. That true. It was a big day for you.
Yes, it
Things were
was.
work. Things wheels were in motion. Okay, welcome to Real World Witness. I'm your host Christy, and I am here today. We're going to be talking to Jay Rocco and Soldier of Light Jason Ramirez, and they kind of came from a bunch of different chats that that we've been involved in on the internet over the last 6, 7, 8 months, almost. Yeah, about.
Well, actually, we've probably seen each other over the last year and a half. Easy.
Yeah, year
You
and
know
a
your
half. Yeah,
names.
I mean,
Yeah.
I've been all over, so it's
Mhm.
just anyway. So welcome, guys. Thank you so much for doing this round table. We're gonna basically be talking about spiritual warfare, spiritual, I guess, awakening. And I first just want everybody to, why don't you go first, Jay, and just kind of introduce yourself a little bit, how you've
Sure.
been.
This all kind of happened to me about. Well, I've kind of had a couple gifts most all my life. The gift of smell and gift of touch. Um, when you're a young kid, those things are kind of suppressed, but I never lost those. And then I guess about a year ago, I started opening up in Jean Claude's chat. I had a question in the chat that Ashley read, and it was
Mhm.
about my sense of smell connection. So anyway, it went on from there, and then I guess about within the last 12 weeks was this massive spiritual awakening. In other words, an opening of everything.
Mhm.
Truth be told, I used to make fun of the people that I'm becoming. I mean, I used to giggle, and I never realized how real and how true these things
Yeah,
are. So that's
it's
pretty much it.
amazing. Yeah, Jason, what about you?
I'm kind of along the lines with Joe. I've always felt that I was in tune. My mom was also very in tuned and probably pretty psychic. She just never developed it. And our family, a lot of our family members have always been that way. They've seen things, they can see, some see apparitions, some don't, some can hear things. Um, and we've all just kind of had that. I believe it's just a connection that our families had. And I feel like I've always had this battle of good and evil in me. Like, not like I've always been fighting the evil. But I would say for me, the main awakening probably was close to about 2 years ago now. It's right after this whole scenario happened with the 2020,
Yeah.
and when it came down to it, like right before this whole thing kicked off, I started doing a tattoo, a sleeve on my arm, and
Mhm.
it's the battle of good and evil, and it has
Wow.
the kingdom of heaven and the Alpha and Omega in the back with the cross
Mhm.
and the clouds and the angels coming down, and Saint Michael's on the bottom of my arm. He's banishing Satan to hell. So I've always
Mhm.
had this duality with the spirit. I know there's good and there's bad. I've seen demons,
Right.
but I've also seen angels, and I've seen them with my own eyes.
Wow. That's
And
awesome.
it's just for an example, just kind of how I am. So when it came down to it, like recently though, I feel like I got supercharged is the word I can use. I feel
Mhm.
supercharged. I mentioned that on the roundtable in the last live that we did on
Mhm.
Kristen and Jason's channel. And I mentioned that in a dream, I was in my house in my bed and I was sleeping. I felt that I was dreaming, maybe in between, and
Mhm.
the doorway to my left, where my door always is, was humongous, like for a giant or someone large.
Yeah.
And I heard this booming voice, and I don't remember everything they said, but the only part that sticks to me in this point before all the craziness happened was inside of you. And as soon as that voice said that booming inside of you, it was like I hit hyperspace and all these
Wow.
like, lights come flying into me, but they were like purplish hued color.
Mhm.
And it hit me inside and it woke me up from a dead sleep for like, and my heart was racing, boom, 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 like what just happened, something happened, and it was major. And I feel
Wow.
like it like activated me somehow, like
Mhm.
really activated my gifts that I kind of already had and never really developed. But since then, though, I've had, some major prophetic dreams. And when I ask my guides, I get responses, and that's something that I'm very lucky that I can get those types of responses when I ask for
Yeah.
them. some people don't get those yet, and I'm very thankful for that. So that's kind of how my journey has been, and I've always been into I've seen some crazy things in my life, and I don't know if we want to cover this later in the show, but I've had some experiences. I mean, some things that
We're gonna
people
do
would
them all.
consider a
Yeah.
unicorn. So I'm just anxious and thankful to be here. So
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. My whole life, I'll just give you guys a kind of a overview of everything. I mean, I've always been into the paranormal, the supernatural, yes, tarot cards when we were younger. When I was younger, we had them, as a teenager. And I've always had sort of a knowing within my soul or within me that I'm supposed to be part of something bigger. Like this world is just static, I guess is a good way of putting it. And what happens with me is like, okay, so when of course, Trump won, right, in 2016. I mean, I followed all that. And then I was like totally immersed in the political everything. I was just like, oh my gosh. And then now lately, since after the 2020 nightmare for the last, 2.5 years, it's been crazy. And I would say I started my awakening to the truth of what's really happening, like all this stuff, all the truth and everything that's going on in 2015, because I happen to be on YouTube. And you remember I don't know if you know what the Jade Helm thing that was going on. Anyway, people were like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, military, come in. And anyway, I was following that. Then I found out about the giants. Then I started digging, and then of course the number 17 letter came, and I would happen to be on YouTube during that. I mean, on Twitter during that when he first came, when that started, October 28th, 2017. And I'm like, what is this? And I was reading, I'm like, oh my gosh, I got it. And so then the flood doors open at that point. And then it was just like, oh my gosh, what the heck is going on? I can't believe this evil that's happening. But I've always felt that I don't know, that I'm supposed to be doing bigger and better things and touching people's lives in different ways, because I've learned over the last 2 years specifically that, first of all, I wasn't taking care of myself. So actually, that was one good thing that this pandemic started, was that I started taking my vitamins and I started taking care of myself, and I started to be like, okay, this is what I need. I need to get on the whole health train kind of a thing, and I'm trying to. It's very difficult, as you guys know. But I think that's sort of why I'm just kind of, I don't know, started my show up again. I did have the show originally in 2019 I had a veteran friend of mine, and we were doing it. You can go on my website. It's on there.
Oh yeah, I've seen his videos with you.
Yeah, Doug Cody. And anyway, and then 2020 hit, the whole thing, and everything fell apart. And then I'm just sitting here and I'm just like so upset and everything. And I'm like, I can't do this anymore. So anyway, so that's where I'm at right now. And then I found all you guys through a happenstance of me looking for coverage on the trucker convoy in Canada. That's how I found JC and Janine I don't know how to say her last name, but anyway, Morgero, thank you. And that's how I found. And then I started talking to everybody and everybody like that. So that's where I'm at, and that's where we're here, and that's how I ended up in this crazy, I don't know what story. So, but now why don't I wanted to ask you guys about, okay, what do you think? Why do you think some people come back around together? Like, I really do believe that we all have some kind of a soul purpose, and I also believe that we pick our families, or people that were our soul family. What do you guys think about that? If you want to start, Jay, what your thoughts are on that?
I believe definitely there is truth to it. I mean, souls come and go. I don't necessarily care about your religious beliefs. I mean, to me, it's one God. It's not their God, your God. It's one God. But I also think we've been lied to about a lot of things, manipulations with the Bible, and all the books of the religions, not just the Bible. But what I'm getting at is if this truly is a God of light and love, then why is there so many rules and things against other religions? In other words, kill the non-believer. These things. I mean, this doesn't sound like a loving God. So I think once man got involved, it was definitely manipulated. However, getting to this question you're asking, yeah, I truly believe souls come back and forth. Uh, I'm still learning. I mean, obviously, with our roundtable, we've found out that Jason and I, Kristen and Jason Brian, along with Lakeside Laura, I mean, we were actually a family in more than one lifetime, and we're all brought together again now. And the funny thing is that in our lifetime, right now, apparently, I'm the dad of a few lifetimes, uh, and those other mothers are we interact with. I'm not going to give their names out until we go down that road, but yeah, I definitely think it is a real thing. And as far as choosing, I honestly, I don't know. I want to say yes.
I do.
Yeah, but I truly don't know. I wish I had a better answer on that one. Go ahead, Jason.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jay.
I agree with everything you said. Religion has been created purposely, because people are supposed to be spiritual, but religion has been created only by man in order to divide.
Mhm.
And because when we're not, when we all just are thankful for the things that we have, or the higher being that may be, whatever you want to call it, we become spiritual and we're connected. What happens when it's like, my God is better than your God, and this God is, if you believe in this God, you're going to go to hell. If you believe in this God, where you're going to go. So what all that's done is just separate things, and
Mhm.
I agree when it comes to, and I do know for a fact that you choose your family, and the reason why I can speak to this wholeheartedly is through my wife.
Mhm.
My wife had a dream of my daughter and my stepdaughter, but she had a dream of her before she had my stepson, which is, he's 2 years almost older than her. She had a dream prior to him, same identical facial features, everything that she saw Olivia.
Wow.
And Olivia came to her, and she saw Olivia, like Olivia was telling her. She didn't say anything. She just was looking at her in this dream. And she came to her saying, like, basically, I'm going to choose you as my parent. So she
Wow.
saw that. So she knew from the very beginning, when she had Olivia, when she had my son, she was like, she was expecting a girl, and she didn't. It was a boy. And then so Olivia came later, but she saw her. So I agree that, and I've seen a son of mine that I haven't had yet, but I've seen him.
Wow.
And
Wow.
I was on a cloud. I was on a cloud,
Mm-hmm.
and this little boy was sitting right next to me. I've never seen him before. He looked very familiar. Like I knew him,
Yeah.
like my son. So I've had that dream as well, where a child is coming to me and telling me, you want you to be my parent and bring me into
Wow.
the world
Mm.
in this
That's pretty
timeline.
cool.
So those are experiences I can speak just for my own and for my wife, that absolutely does. And I feel like it's a soul that they need, either something from them to balance something maybe in a previous life, or something that needs
Yeah.
to. And I feel like that's why the higher self says, this is who we present you to, in order to learn the lessons that you need to learn at this stage of your life before
Mhm.
you're going on your own.
Right.
So that's just kind of what I feel, and I agree with that. And the
Mhm.
whole religion thing, just to come back to that real quick. Here's
Yep.
what I told me. I was raised Catholic, so
Mhm.
everything about tarot and all this was no go. You
Forbidden.
Yep.
Yeah, you get
Evil.
into that, you're gonna go
Yeah.
to hell, and you're evil. And I never resonated with church, even though we'd go there and I did all the stuff, the
Yeah.
confirmation and all that stuff. And I never, like, I didn't understand the process or the thought. of why we go into this place, and they're usually nice and shiny, and nice stained glass windows and very opulent
Mm-hmm.
type church environments, and then you have to turn around and give money
Yes, I always hate
person in order for you to say that you've done your duty and you're giving to God. My God doesn't ask for anything except
no.
love, and
It's
then
just
He'll
love
give
and
that
light.
exactly. And I never understood those things, And I told my brother the same thing because he was like he's big into the Jesus and the things that he's learned through the Catholic faith. And I
Mm-hmm.
said, you tell me, what does your soul tell me or tell you if I'm gonna say I'm a Buddhist and I live in China or something
Mm-hmm.
or Japan or whatever, and you're telling me that like for us that Jesus Christ and God says live in the light, do to others as you'd want unto yourself, and treat your neighbor as with love and all that stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
everything is light and love, but you're telling me this person believes in Buddha, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
and they still live those same principles of helping others, being of service to others, being of the light. You're telling me that person's going to go to hell or
Right.
whatever they're because they don't believe in Jesus Christ or whatever the name you want to call it. That makes no sense to me.
I know.
Zero.
Well,
Absolutely zero.
exactly.
So
Well, let me tell
I
you,
start,
we used to live in Utah, not Mormon. Okay, we used
sure.
to moved to Utah from Florida when I was like 9 years old. Okay, and I think that was the nail in the coffin for me as far as like because all my we luckily I had a group of friends of mine growing up in high school and stuff. We were not Mormon, but basically it's not a normal society because if you're not Mormon, you don't get to go and date so and so or it's
Mhm.
just it's very very
You're black
strange.
sheep.
Yes, very oppressive, very, and they keep the women barefoot and pregnant. Sorry, it's the truth. Okay, because I lived it, but it's just kind of like I don't understand. It's the control thing. Like I do have a big issue with. Maybe that's why I'm still single. I don't know. I just don't like to be controlled. I used to be an investigator. For 17 years, I was an investigator in the criminal justice system, and it was fantastic because yes, I worked for like a public defender agency, but I got I went in, I set my own appointments, went out, did my job, talked to these lawyers at the end of the day, that kind of thing. But I got to be my own person. Nobody was like hovering over me. I wasn't chained to the desk or anything like that. And I think that's why religion, it just, especially after moving, it just, all that just puts a bad taste in my mouth. Like, I
Mhm.
just can't. I feel like we're all sovereign individual beings. And that's why what's been going on the last 2.5 years has just, I mean, you would not believe the how angry I would get because I live on the Washington coast. My mother lives in about 30 miles north of Seattle. Okay, it was and I ended up having to take care of her because she broke her shoulder.
Like,
I had to stay there for 6 weeks and take care of her. Oh my God, it was torture. It was torture because
Mhm.
it was so oppressive. It was like every 90 seconds on the news because she watches the local news. It was like see this, see that, da da da. I mean, I was just going the whole thing. I was like, what? This is ridiculous. And she'd go, you're gonna get. She would tell me I was gonna get arrested because I don't want to wear one. It's like this is so stupid. Anyway, my point is, it's about control, and that's why I'm like, religion just never sat with me at all. And that was by the time I was like 8, 9 years old. I mean,
Mhm.
how I just was not in that mindset at all. But I would say spiritually, the whole idea about spiritualism is you have to be able to connect to source or God or whatever it is that you think it is, and they've cut that in half. They make you go through all these machinations instead of you being able to just solely, connect. So,
Mhm.
what are some of the things that you guys do to connect? Like, what is your is it better? I guess maybe give some people some I guess examples of how you do it because I do pray. I say may the may the Lord or whoever send I say the Lord or the universe send, you know, uh holy warring angels,
Mm,
to protect and things like that. What are some of the things that you guys do? Jay, you want to start?
sure. I was actually kind of brought up Catholic. I was always biblically based. In fact, I actually considered being a priest as a child.
Wow.
So I guess I've had this spiritual nature, but it never resonated with me that the early popes were married, and yet
Hmm.
the
Yeah.
the Catholic priests could not marry, and the nuns were married to
Yeah.
the church. But getting towards what you're saying as far as connection goes, I guess we all kind of have a faith, and we all have a sense of a higher power.
Hmm.
I mean, I'm not speaking of someone that wants to say that I'm an atheist or anything like that. I'm
Right.
just saying my own personal belief. But the higher power for me is a divine God, a source, one person.
Hmm.
How I connect, I've always prayed. I've always
Hmm.
tried to see the best in people. When you're younger, you don't maybe necessarily have that maturity. But as we
Yeah.
get older, and some of us come to it quicker, some of us come at our own pace. But the way I pray from my heart. I put my intention in it. And how I
Hmm.
receive my information, if you will, or my connection with source or higher self, generally comes to me in the morning or just during the day in a calm moment. I'm not a person that listens to radio. I knock down
Hmm.
all the people I follow. I follow a handful.
Yeah.
That's it. But the main thing is in that moment of calm, in that moment of silence, is when everything becomes so much clearer, and it's a knowing. So
Hmm.
that everyone wants to have an intimate relationship with their higher person.
Hmm.
I agree. I think it is individual, but at the same respect, we cannot knock down the sense of togetherness that we have as coming
Right.
together. Now, that doesn't have to be in a big fancy building. We can do
No.
that. You're in Washington, if I remember
Hmm.
correctly. I'm in
Yes.
Pennsylvania. We can connect. You know, that's
Right.
just what we've been told. No, that's not possible. But the truth is that we are much more powerful. We are much more
Hmm.
connected than we will. Hopefully, we will know in this lifetime. I mean, most of us are starting to feel these things.
Yeah.
I don't want to get into a big ramble. I'd like Jason to go, but that's how I connect. It comes to me. Do I seek it?
Yeah.
Sure, I do, but
Hmm.
I also get my information. I don't have to be in quote a safe space. I don't have to be in
Right.
a my God doesn't need me to be in a safe space for
Right.
me to receive something.
Hmm.
I'm not a person. I'm not knocking any believers. I don't understand the light language.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's a euphoria that you get, like in other words, talking in
Hmm.
tongues. That's what I'm assuming because if it was a light language and you all can speak a light language, why can't you speak the same language?
Yeah.
Again, I mean, it's just my thing. I just think it's more of a response of euphoria. But
Right. Right.
Jason Ramirez, your turn, sir.
So before we get started, though, when you said you were an investigator for
Hmm.
17 years, the time, just so you know how connected the universe is, the time on the live just clicked over at 17 minutes, right when
Oh
you
wow!
said,
Nuh-uh. Are you serious?
yeah, swear to
Oh
you.
my gosh.
And,
That's
and
So,
pay attention to
yeah,
those things.
crazy.
those are the little things that I pay attention to all the time. And
Mhm.
I didn't really until probably the last 6 months, I would say,
Yeah.
really. I mean, all the little synchronicities that I picked up everywhere. Like, and now I say those so it became so repetitive that I say these things. My wife picks up on them now. She's like, look, this and that. So she picks up. So I
Yeah.
think my ability to kind of teach her those things because she wasn't
Hmm.
really into those, she picks up on it now. So when she picks up on it, that makes our energies even stronger.
Yeah.
She may pick up on
Totally.
things that I don't, and vice versa. And to get back to your spirituality,
Hmm.
same thing. I've always prayed. I've always had, been faithful always. I've always
Yeah.
known that. Like I said, I've seen demons and I've seen angels, and I know that there's good and bad. I used to be a hospice nurse and help people. I was a trauma nurse when I was in the military, but when I got out, I helped people pass over. My
Wow.
wife as well. So there's a lot of things that we've seen, good and bad, and I used to see the
Mhm.
beautiful of what was happening. So I would say, like for me, like my personal, what I do is I will barefooted. You don't have to even go outside. You can ground yourself from inside your house,
Mhm.
but because you can root yourself through your feet to
Mhm.
wherever you are. But the vibration, it's a little different through concrete and things like that. So I
Mhm.
try to go out onto the ground, and try to be. I put my feet in the dirt, even if I sit on the edge of my porch with my feet on the dirt,
Mhm.
and I just sit there and I just breathe. What I try to do is quiet my mind because my mind is always going and going, like things aren't making sense. The world is crazy. Those
Yeah.
types of things. Like, am I understanding these things that I get? Are these my thoughts? Are these the things
Mhm.
that I don't understand what this? So I kind of quiet it down and I just start breathing. And what I do is I try to pull my energy that's all over the place. I try to just pull it back in so I can
Mhm.
center myself. And then what I do is try to connect, with my eyes closed and just breathing. And I try to just I always ask. I always ask. That's the first thing is your guides and your angels and all these protectors that we have around us, even your ancestors, your higher self, they're sitting there just waiting. They're just sitting there like this, like, let me help you. I want to help you.
Mhm.
But they're not able to because of the divine. You have to it has to be you have to request that.
You have
They
to
can't
Yeah.
open.
interfere with free will. They can't just jump in and say this is how it's going to be because this is better for you.
Right.
That takes away your ability as a sovereign being and a soul to make your
Mhm.
decision, and that free will that was presented to all of us.
Mhm.
So when it comes down to it, when you ask them when you're sitting there quieting yourself. And that's just my routine is I'll ask them in. I'll ask St. Michael and I'll ask all the archangels in mine, all the angels, because
Mhm.
you have archangels and angels. You also have spirit guides that are specifically tied to
Yes.
you. I have dragons because I also have ascended masters that are attached to me as
Mhm.
my energy. Some people may not because they're just not attuned to that. But
Mhm.
each one of us has special guides that are assigned to us to help us through our journey. And our journey is I feel our journey is somewhat the path is somewhat laid out for us, but
Yeah.
there's also turnoffs on this
Mhm.
path that you can either choose to go right or left or stay down your
Mhm.
path. And I feel like that's the problem is sometimes when we go off too far to the right or left, we have to kind of bring it back to the
Bring
middle.
it back.
And there's
Mhm.
no specific things. I just kind of pray. I kind of, even if it's for like a minute or two, and I tell people all the time, even if you're feeling anxious, you're feeling like
Mhm.
everything is
Yep.
spinning out of control, go outside for a second, ground yourself, even because the earth will take all that excess energy and your guides. And how I do it, if I stand on the ground or even if I not, I stand up and I'll sit there for a minute after I've channeled and
Mhm.
I'll raise my hands like I'm
Mhm.
like a victory, and
Mhm.
I'll pull energy from the top and I'll pull energy up from my feet, and I feel
Mhm.
like my energies get cleared. It comes up and through me like a big
Right.
figure eight in my body. So that's what I do, and I also have told people you don't have to have a routine. Only
Exactly.
thing that you need to do to connect spiritually is just quiet your mind. You can go on a walk.
Mhm.
You can do something different than your mundane activities that we do every day, because that's just automatic things that our intelligent part of our brain
Mhm.
says, do this. This is what you need to do A, B, C, D, E to get through your day.
Right.
But
Right.
if you pull that in, quiet your mind, you can go for a walk, you can take a breath, step out for a minute, whatever, put your feet on the dirt. Water is a beautiful thing to release energy and stagnant, like ocean water or movement of water,
Mhm.
even if it's lake water, something gets movement because we're constantly, cells are always in motion. So that's what we want. We want to vibrate, and that lower
Yes.
vibration can be released. So that's kind of that's how I've always done it. I didn't have a specific. Sometimes it changes how I do things. Just depends on how I
Yeah.
feel.
Depending
I
on.
don't have a specific A B C D E F G has to be done in order for
Mhm.
me to be successful today.
Right.
So
Right.
every person's going to have their own thing. I'm kind of anxious to see what do you have a type of routine that you might do or something you might do,
Well,
Chrissy?
what I've been doing, and ever since I see, there was it was such a weird story too about how I ended out here. But needless to say, I mean, because I was living in downtown Seattle, like right downtown Seattle, and it was getting pretty bad down there. And so I found this place out here, and I go out down to the beach. I walk down to the beach. I'm like, it's like a 5 minute walk for me. So I'll walk down to the beach and I'll just sit there, with my thoughts. And Jay knows this. I've
Mhm.
had such issues sleeping. It's crazy because I can't turn my mind off. That's my biggest problem because I have all these things going on in my head, and then I'm like, well, what about this? What about all these things that are happening in the world, right? All the static, and
Yeah.
sometimes I have the hardest time quieting myself. I mean, it's
I've been
so
writing you about that. I've been writing you about that.
yeah.
I mean,
I've just been like.
quiet your mind.
He's like, quiet, my
Quiet
mind,
the mind.
quiet. It's okay, calm down. Because, I have so many things in my head that I would like to get out. That's the other thing. I have
Mhm.
so many, like, so much research, so many things that I know that it's just trying to find the right outlet for me and then quieting it at night. And, like I'm lucky, I actually did get 3 solid hours last night, which was very good.
That's good
The
for
other night
you.
I did get 5. Remember, you're
Yeah.
like, did you sleep okay? I'm like, yeah, I got 5. I got 5 solid hours. It was amazing. But and then the other thing that's been happening is, and I wanted to talk to you briefly about your dreams because I've been having dreams. So I've had 3 Trump dreams in the last year, I would say. I told Jay about this, but three Trump dreams. They were crazy. One was that I was. Why it was so crazy. This is why it was hilarious. I'm 4'8", okay, and how tall is Trump? Like 6'4" or something like that. So in
He's
the
talking.
dream, and the reason that I laugh is because in the dream I was walking alongside, but I was like looking way up, cranking my neck to try and he's talking and we were just in this huge, I mean, huge hall of I don't know what. I don't even know where we were. I don't know. I don't think it was. It was just a huge, huge building, and I don't know if
Mhm.
it was DC. I don't know, but we were talking, whatever. And then the second dream I had with him, I was yeah, that was weird too. So I was in some office somewhere and there was a huge, like, counter, like a big counter, but I was on the other side of the counter with Trump. And he was like standing next to me here again. He's always on my right side, which is very interesting to me. I don't know if that's any significance, but anyway, he was on my right side. And he was like showing me. He was bending over with papers and I was standing there and he was showing me whatever. I don't even know what he was showing me. He was just showing me, teaching me something. I don't know. And then the last one that I had recently was oh yeah, I was that was weird too. So we were sitting at a table and a big table, huge table with other people, huge amount of people. And of course he was sitting to my right. And I don't know what we were talking about. I don't know where we were. That's the extent of that. And so Jay, I told him about it, and I'd like to see again what you, if you want to say again what you thought about it, and Jason, what you think about it, because it was very fascinating to be, having a dream about Trump, just because I like him so much, but as a leader.
Yeah. Do you want me to go? Okay.
Yeah, go.
I think I actually do not dream. It's rare. I had a first dream not long ago. I finally had a breakthrough. It was a
Mhm.
deer and a horse, and it was majestic. And for the time it happened, it was so vivid. But it was a message for me. And
Yeah.
but the dream of Trump's and everything, I haven't been fortunate enough to have any of that.
Oh,
I am jealous of people who dream. Jay Snip is quite possibly the greatest dreamer ever. Have you ever heard him
wow.
discuss his dreams?
No.
He will
Uh-uh.
discuss a dream for about 45 minutes, and it's like every
Wow.
single little detail. But for the first time, this dream that I had, it was fully, it was, and for instance, just as if I was looking outside, it was that vivid. But with Trump, I think Trump is, I don't want to get bashed for this, but I think he's a temporal marker. I think he is
Yeah.
been put in place in for a reason.
Hmm.
I don't care about being bashed about it, but what I'm getting at is I think he is anointed, but I don't think
Hmm.
he's our savior. I don't think he's a savior, and
No, I don't think he is either.
well, but so many people put that kind of faith in that
Mhm.
person. I put the faith in my
God.
God. And
or yeah.
hopefully, but what Trump, I believe, did was open many eyes.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Definitely.
But I can't really talk about dreams. Like I said, I'm jealous. I'm working on right now of trying to unblock my dreams,
Yeah.
but
It's like we
that's
all
going to
do
take time.
dream, I
Yeah, we
think,
do.
but you just don't remember them. So you
Mhm.
do dream, I think, but you just don't
I
remember
do, but
them.
like for instance, today I had it was when I talk about what I felt, it's really through my intuition,
Mm-hmm.
my higher self.
Mm-hmm.
It's very limited on details, but I know. Like the other night, I was kind of battling. I was yelling out loud in my sleep. And I was trying to concentrate on my impression of it. Again, I can only go with what I'm shown, but I truly
Mm-hmm.
can't unfortunately give my advice on this or my
Right.
lessons. Jason, on the other hand, is I think
Yeah.
he walks. I think he walks in the dream world sometimes. I really do.
Yeah. What are your thoughts, Jason?
I do. I mean, just what Joe kind of mentioned is I do walk in astral project. I know I do, and I've had very vivid dreams. I would say that after that first, what I talked about earlier in the show, when I felt like I got activated mainly,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
those lights that came into me. That's when I started having I was like, okay, something just told me start asking my guides more, like to connect me to the guides. And I would
Mm-hmm.
always ask God, like, please this or that, whatever I
Yeah.
needed at the time. And he always listened. I've always felt very blessed, even though I've had a rough life. Like most of
Mm-hmm.
us, I'm seeing if we have some type of connection that way with some rough health, childhoods, whatever it may be, um, that our upbringing to this point wasn't an easy path, but we're here
Mm-hmm.
and we're stronger for it. So after this activation, I started tuning more into my guides and try to work on myself. I started working on myself. That was the first thing. I don't know why I just started working on myself. Like I need to start getting better. I just need to be better. I don't know what it is. I just need to be better.
Mm-hmm.
So I started taking time to kind of, rein things in, come back to source in my center, and just kind of start to focus on that. So I started asking. So with all the craziness started happening in after 2020, I asked my guides because there's so much information online for people, and
Yeah.
it really hurts me almost to my heart when I see people like hang on every word that a certain person says, and if they
Mhm.
hear something different from another
Mm-hmm.
person, like that's not what this person said. Well, this person said this has happened, and that didn't happen because you're putting faith into somebody else
Yeah.
instead of God, the creator of all, and yourself. You're so connected to God, you'll have the answers.
Mhm.
You just need to be not hang on every word that people have. So I started
Right.
looking, and I was like, I saw so many conflicting information. I was on Telegram. I was like, me and my wife for a year.
Mm-hmm.
I constantly was all these things are just getting barraged with that I had no idea about any of that because it just wasn't my part of my journey at the time to know those
Mhm.
things.
Right.
And I said, well, I gotta because I read something doesn't mean that I'm going to go with it, or somebody tells me something doesn't mean it either resonates with me or it doesn't. Or if I'm going to go find out to verify, then it maybe resonates with me a little more if I have any doubts. So I start
Mm-hmm.
looking into different things. And I asked very specific one night. I don't know. I was feeling like a little anxious reading things. I'm like, oh my gosh, what's going on? The world is crazy. And it's run by evil. And that's a true
It's run
story.
by yeah.
It was. It was. Let me put that
Mm-hmm.
past tense. It was run
Was
by evil.
yes was.
So but with this whole scenario, the first thing I asked was, is President Trump fighting evil with the military? No, actually, the first one I asked was, is President Trump of the light? Because some people say
Right.
he's a Freemason and he's secret
Right.
society, and they like to twist things, and a lot of people say that it's not the case. So I asked, is Trump of the light? Before I started pulling
Mm-hmm.
cards, any of that stuff, and I want to see what my guides gave me. And that night, this is how strong my guides, when they do come through, they come through like a freight train,
Mm-hmm.
and it was so vivid. And you talked about a hall that triggers me. because the first dream I had is I walked through a room as I discussed in a round table, and it's a big doorway, and I walk through this doorway, and I can see it like it's happening right now in my mind. And I just kind of start to look around. It's a huge, grand hall. I don't know where we are,
See,
but
that's
it's
yes,
huge.
it's a huge. It's just one huge. There was no entrance
And
in
it,
mine, but it was
and,
just
and
a
it,
big hall.
yeah, that's how mine was. But the roof was uh, arced. It was an arc. The
Wow.
whole slope of the roof was arced, and it was a huge, grand hall. And there were so many people in this hall. They were all huddled together in their own individual groups. Couldn't understand what they're saying. They're all wearing business suits for some reason, like they were down to business, conducting business. Couldn't understand what they're saying. So I walk through this group and I kind of start scanning the room. And to my when I get to my immediate left, there's a group to my left who's talking. I can't see anyone. Their backs are all to me. I can't understand. So when I get to that point, I start to see one of the people in the group to the left start to turn to their right, and they start turning towards me. And I notice it's President Trump. And President Trump, when he turns toward me, he winks at me with his right eye, and he whispers to me where only I could hear. He says, "Don't worry, things are changing. They just don't know it yet."
Wow.
And that's the very dream, and that's
Chills.
all he
Oh,
said to me.
Oh.
All he said to me, and I said, "Amazing." So he reached out to me to hug me,
Mhm.
and I hugged him. I've never dreamt about another grown man. Anything. I
Right.
didn't ask. I just asked for that, but it came to me. But when I hugged President Trump, and this is to this day in my heart, I felt like I was hugging God, or possibly God
He
coming
was
to me
anointed.
as
Yeah.
Trump, so I could understand what
Mhm.
maybe God was in this reality for me. I'm not saying
Mhm.
Trump was not anything like that, but I'm saying I feel like he appeared to me so I could understand the visual because I asked for
Right.
that. And when Trump hugged me, I started sobbing like a baby. And I'm not a
Oh.
crier. I sobbed and sobbed and sobbed, and our embrace was so loving and so. I felt like my soul and everything was just warm and loved, and I was
Mhm.
surrounded with hugs, and I felt like the most love I've ever felt in my entire life, even to this day, with my own children, my own wife, and I'm very in love with my wife, and I love my children and my family,
Mhm.
but I can't compare that. It's
Yeah.
so strong. So my guides told me, absolutely, he is here fighting for what you need, and he is the love I felt, and with the visual they gave me. There's no way that what I felt with his picture that man is doing evil stuff behind the scenes. There's no way,
Yeah.
no way my guys
I
would have done
agree.
that.
Listen,
So
I
that was
go back.
go ahead.
Sorry, I just want to say I go back and forth because it's like I feel like okay, he is the one. Let me just say this: the one thing that I keep going back to is his inaugural speech. If you go back and listen to it, the way he talked, this is a transition of power to the people, and that has stuck with me since that day, and I just don't think anybody could be that evil as to I just don't see. Yes, there could be people that evil, the people that are not, but I
Right.
just don't see that from him. And no matter what else has gone on in the world, that's the one thread that has me holding on, right? To I believe things are really changing and it's going to be for the better. It's going to be epic. It's going to be an epic change. It's going to be
Well,
amazing.
my second dream that I had, because
Mhm.
they're talking, oh, there's the good military and there's the bad military. Those, like I
Right.
said, looking information that was put out there. So I'm like, let me go to my center instead of reading all this. It could be all garbage or it could all be true. I don't know.
Mhm.
So I asked my guides again. And it was one night I was feeling like I need to ask them. And I said, are the military, verbatim is what I asked. I said, are the military out hunting evil and destroying the evil with President Trump? Is that what's going on? So that night I had a dream, very clear, like to this day.
Mhm.
The part I remember is I walked into this another room
Mhm.
somewhere. I'm like walking through a doorway or something. So I feel like I'm jumping into wherever it was, and there were thousands and thousands of troops,
Wow.
and they knew who I was. I didn't know who they were, I've never seen them before. Like I didn't see familiar faces of somebody when I was
Mhm.
previous military and I retired from there. I didn't see any of that. I saw soldiers and they came up to me and were calling me Sergeant Ramirez again. Like I was
Wow.
training them or I trained them or they were, I was leading this mission. Well, after they started to come up to introduce me, we start getting in a single file line, one at a time. There's thousands of us. I
Mhm.
mean, just a long line. And each military person is meeting the commander in chief of this mission. Well, it was my turn to get up to the front of the line, and I turn to my right from the line I was standing in, and it's President Trump. And
Wow.
President Trump is sitting on a throne, a king's throne. And it's not a flashy king's throne like jewel encrusted gold.
Right.
All it's made for a giant,
Wow.
very large. It's concrete. It's concrete. Like
That's
it's
so
it.
weird. You just said concrete because I swear to God, in my head, I just pictured it concrete before
Yeah,
you
that's
even said
exactly what it
that.
was.
It's so weird.
It was
Anyway, go ahead.
huge. It was a huge throne of concrete, and he was sitting on it. But when it was my turn to walk up to him, he stood up, and he shook my hand. And when he shook my hand, I said, President Trump. I said, things are not good in the world. And he
Mhm.
responded to me with a crackling, almost crying type voice. He said, I know.
Oh,
That's why we're here. So then we hugged again. And that was the only part that I remember of that dream. And that is a second confirmation for me.
yeah.
Third dream I had later on, maybe another couple weeks later, I asked one night, plus another experience I had, but that a night I had, I'm like, will the White House or is it being destroyed? Is it going to be destroyed with all the evil that's under? That's like one of the hubs is under the White House. It's a big thing. And I
Mhm.
said, is the White House going to be destroyed
No.
Entertainment
for
purposes
the
only.
Yeah,
right?
entertainment purposes only,
But not really.
but not really. I
Sorry,
don't
Jay.
have that mic. I don't have a mic
I
to
had to
do
put that
that.
one out there for you.
Entertainment
Oh yeah,
purposes only, but not really.
So, but this dream I had, it was I was all I remember is I was in the clouds. I was like flying or something. I was in the
Mhm.
clouds, and they're poofy regular clouds, not the EMF clouds that you see.
Yeah.
So it's at night, but the clouds were separated. So there was an opening, and I was in the clouds, and there was somebody to my left. I don't know who it was. My guess is probably God or something like that. I couldn't see them, but between this opening I'm looking down. Everything else around was pitch black around the whole world. Nothing. I couldn't
Oh
see
my
any
God.
the White House. And the White House was lit up like a spotlight. It was just like a beacon of light at the time so I could see it around the black. And I almost swear like God almost nudged me or something and said,
Mhm.
like, watch this. Let me show you how impressive this is going to be. And at that time, I literally saw probably between 60 and 100 lightning bolts at one
Wow.
time. It started crashing. And these weren't like sporadic, these were like hundreds and hundreds at one time, like, and just destroying
Oh
the
my
Entertainment
White
purposes
House.
only.
Entertainment
Entertainment,
purposes
Just
only, but
only
not really.
but not
But
really.
that's the
destroying
dream.
a house that was just happened to be white.
Just happened to be
Exactly.
white.
Just happened to be
It's
white.
all, hey, it could be
But
anybody's house. It doesn't have to
absolutely.
be.
Exactly.
A house is a
But
house.
those are the dreams that I've had that have been very prophetic as far as the specifics.
Yeah.
Um, and it's been crazy. So after I had this dream, a couple days later, I'm like, "Can you give me one more sign?" This is when I'm walking up down to my driveway to take my garbage cans out to the edge of the road,
Mhm.
and I asked a sign. Asked my guys, I'm like, "Can you please show me a sign to tell me that everything's going to be okay, to put my heart and my soul
Yeah.
at peace of what I just saw." And I swear to you, I don't know where this thing came from, but it's dark outside. It's at night when I'm pulling my cans down, but
Mhm.
there are street lights on my street. So there's still
Yeah.
some ambient light in
Yeah.
places. And plus I had my house lights on around my house. So literally, I don't know where it came from. A huge bird. I don't know if it was owl, or as soon as I asked for that sign, it came out of the black from in the darkness, and it went
Wow.
right over my head, and it disappeared. I didn't even know where it went. It went
Oh my
right, and it was
God.
like right over my head, like within 15 feet of my head. It came over me
I
and was
just got
gone.
chills. That's
So
amazing.
that was how I felt. I'm like, okay. And I told my wife that, and she goes, "Are you going to stop asking now? Did you get the signs that you
Yeah.
I
needed?"
think you got enough
And I said,
time.
I did. So, and since then, I've been at peace. And I was telling Jay,
Yeah,
I said, I am the most at peace and most calm I've ever been in my existence with all the craziness going on in the world. That tells me that God is telling me,
right.
yep, things are good. And I
It's
feel
gonna
at
be
peace
okay.
in my soul.
Yeah. And
So that's the
I
only
Chrissy,
way
tell
I
you,
can tell.
that's
What I
amazing.
was going to say is, I think that you probably may end up having to do a few videos on this. I'm just saying, it just seems like all of a sudden it's like, wow, where'd the time go? But
I
what,
know, I know. It's almost
but you know, that would kind of, I'd also be up for that. That's fine. But I
okay.
think maybe it'll break it down a little bit better.
Yeah, we can break it
Well,
down because I want to. Yeah, I mean, I was just gonna say, yeah, I mean, I get eagles out here, bald eagles
well,
all the time.
mhm.
So yeah, I get signs like that too. It's
one
crazy,
My
but
wife,
yeah,
one of the
my wife,
things, yeah, one of the
I'm sorry,
things I
what?
wanted to mention
Yes.
on my side is, I hate to say it, but I've kind of detached myself from a lot of the politics. I'm putting my
Yeah.
faith in God. When it opens, it opens.
right here.
I do understand the dreams. I do get it. I've kind of gone inside, you know, when since that 2020 face thing and all those things.
Plan, the
Yeah, I
plan,
Face
think
helpers.
right.
plan
And
Emmett.
yes, we've kind of gone, you know, inside.
Yeah.
I've kind of detached myself, and again, I when a particular the bug spray they used in Florida,
Mhm.
Raid, I think is the brand name. When they did
Mhm.
that at a uh, place recently, I honestly, I detached myself from it. I'm like, not, you know, and
Yeah.
it seems to be part of the show. And
Mhm.
the truth is, the white hats have secrets, the dark hats have
Yeah.
secrets. I'm for
Yep.
none of that. There shouldn't be
Mhm.
anything, but I do get that it's a
Story.
step. It's
Yeah.
a step. But the truth of the matter is, secrets are secrets, and
Mhm.
okay. So are the white hats fighting for control? Or are they fighting for us? I have to ask that, being honest.
Right.
The dark
Story.
hats, the dark hats want control and are fighting for control. So my question is, with all of these things going on, are the white hats any better? We perceive it to be yes, we do.
Mhm.
I have to add, but I have to ask those questions. I have to say, I've had enough of everything. I've had enough
Mhm.
of the lies. I've had enough of the manipulation. I've had enough of man.
Yeah.
I think we really need to. And the truth is they divide us at every step, and we just
Mhm.
need to come together.
Yep.
Period.
Story.
If we don't come together, if we let these, okay, give me an example. I grow a lot of food.
Mhm.
I have a garden. If we quit electing vegetables and start eating them from our garden, the place would be a lot
Mhm.
better. That's all I'm
Oh
getting
yeah.
at.
Right.
Yep.
Um, but
I
I
agree.
just want to throw my 2 cents in there on that. But yeah,
Yeah.
I think Trump is definitely a marker, and he gave so many people hope. He did.
Mhm.
I encourage that hope,
Me
and
too.
Absolutely.
that just goes to show you that we're searching for it. We
Yep.
are so searching for it, and I think that could have possibly even sparked these awakenings on many. I
I
really do.
think I really think so too. And I mean, I guess yeah. I mean, I think that ultimately the goal, I think, with us and all of the new friends, all of our group that we talk
Hmm.
to all the time. I mean, I really think the whole key is to stick together,
It
no
is
matter what they do to try and divide us. And yeah,
exactly.
I think that we don't know what the future holds. I mean, I kind of I do believe I'm just gonna say it. I mean, I'm praying and hoping this is a movie because it can't be anything else with Brandon in the. Oh my God. Anyway,
Yeah,
we'll be here now
and
another hour if I start going
but
on that route.
But if we
But
could go to another series, I know for a fact Jason has an appointment right here at
yes,
9 o'clock of our time right
okay.
now, or this your time, correct, Jason?
No, it's 9 o'clock my time.
Oh,
So I
so you're
have
actually
another
okay.
hour. I
Oh,
have
okay.
another
I'm
hour.
sorry.
Oh,
I'm
okay,
sorry.
good,
Go
good,
right
good.
ahead. I was under the wrong impression. I apologize.
It's okay,
Oh,
no
no worries,
worries.
no worries, no worries.
Well,
I'm
you
just
know,
doing an energy healing for someone. So,
we can end it here if you want, and
No,
then
no, I'm
oh
fine. I'm
no,
fine.
are you
absolutely.
okay?
No,
All
I'm
I
right.
want to
fine.
talk.
Yeah.
What do
So I
you
don't
want
know.
to talk about, Jason?
So you're a paranormal investigator. So I
Yeah.
actually, funny thing is, I had an experience, and I'm just putting this out on your video. I've
Okay.
mentioned this kind of in passing before. In my life, I've seen 2 UFOs for
Wow.
sure.
Mm-hmm.
My wife has seen a UFO, like the cigar shaped one, in midday. Mine was at night
Mm-hmm.
when I've seen 2 UFOs, and I've also seen Bigfoot.
Oh, you've
And
seen Bigfoot? Oh my God, that's one of
I've
my things I
I've
want.
seen literally,
Jealous.
it's
Jealous.
legitimate. And I was on a night mission on Fort Lewis, Washington, and in the
Fort Lewis.
trees in the middle, yeah, Fort Lewis, right there,
Yep.
right there, and you should know. I mean, being in Washington
Yeah,
State,
I'm not that far. I'm about an hour north of that. So yeah, but
yeah.
I know where you're talking about.
So we were there doing a night mission. We were wearing night vision goggles, and I was running an ambulance crew. And
Mhm.
my driver and I, we were leading a convoy, and we had our night vision goggles on, and it was thick brush to our right and to our left, but we were on a
Mhm.
path with our vehicles, and we were going slow, just to because we're trying to keep quiet, doing a night mission, and literally, it was only seconds.
Mhm.
It was like a flash. A huge being on 2 legs, hairy,
Oh
ran across the front of my ambulance.
no! Oh
Whoa.
my
Went
God!
from
No
right
way!
to left. And it was as
Holy,
tall as my ambulance, a military ambulance that has 4 gurneys
They're
in there. So
big.
you stack,
They're big.
they're
they're pretty
huge.
tall. So it was as tall as my ambulance, and it was fast. And we stopped. My driver stopped really quick, abruptly, looked at me. I looked at him at the same time. He's like, "Did you just see that? What the f did we just see?" I'm like, "I have
Right.
no idea what that was." Turn the lights on. All the mission stuff at that point went out the window. So,
I'm not sure
can you
I
guys
know
see
what
me?
I'm doing on this thing.
I
Sorry.
see
Keep
you.
going. Can
Okay.
you?
So I actually, it was so fast, and I actually said, what did we just see?" And we didn't know. It was so fast, and it was there, and it was gone. But I've had people pull cards for me, and other people, just to see. I'm like, did I see what I thought I saw on
Mhm.
that day? And it was resounding strong yeses from the people that I've had pull cards for
Oh
me
my
only.
God.
I pulled my own, but I wanted to get validation. I for sure saw a Bigfoot.
Mhm.
That's
And
amazing.
people were like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah, it might sound crazy, but I am speaking 100% truth. I don't put things out that I didn't see with
And
my
you
own
have the
eye."
night vision goggles on, so I mean, those things
Yeah,
are
we saw
like,
it.
I
Right.
know
It
what.
was quick.
Yeah.
So,
Oh my God.
but
I
that's where
bet
I saw
you.
it in Washington State. Yep.
I just keep waiting for somebody to get picture, like video, like real video. Okay, so you go back to that film from what, 1967, the
Mhm.
first
Right.
Bigfoot film, and I mean, as I understand it, there's been all kinds of tests done on it, whatever. On the what the problem is that it's a copy of the original.
Right.
But somebody did, if I remember correctly, a couple of years ago, I think I saw somebody. They might have gotten a hold of the original and was
I
able
remember
to.
that. I remember
Was
that. You're
Yeah,
right.
they did, right? And they were, and that was so interesting because it's people are like, oh no, it's fake, blah blah blah. Listen. I believe that there is a Bigfoot out there. I do. I believe it.
Oh, there is.
Features we don't
I've
even
seen it.
know. Yeah,
It
you
exists.
see it. That amazes me because I've never met anybody that actually saw one. I keep hoping. Well, there's a beautiful drive. So from where I'm at, if I go about 30 minutes west of me or south of me, south and west, whatever, is Ocean Shores. But it's a beautiful drive, and there's lots of woods on either side. And every time I drive it, I'm like, okay, maybe I'll see, maybe I'll see a
Mhm.
Bigfoot through here. Well, I don't know, but yeah, it's pretty cool.
Washington State, and that's a hot spot
Yeah,
for
Yeah,
Bigfoot sightings.
indeed.
I mean, like the Redwood area, if you go out to the Redwoods in Northern
yeah,
California, and Washington State around that area. I mean, those are big sightings out there, and people. I was like, that's not, honestly, I'm going to be 100% transparent. I didn't see UFO until probably a few years back. And I never believed in little green guys from
Oh,
outer
really?
space.
Oh, you're talking to an
Never.
X-Files fan over here. I was a
Ever.
huge
And my
fan. Sorry.
I was closed-minded though, because at the time, because of the teachings of the church and all that, it says, God made man in his own image. I'm like, so you're telling me there's little beings all around that's what God looks like, or we look different? It doesn't make sense to me. So that's why I said I don't feel like there's green men. But after I saw the 2 UFOs and saw how they moved, and I'm like, that is not. I've seen a lot of military aircraft. I'm retired military. I've seen a lot of military aircraft, and the stuff that I saw can't explain it. So I started opening, like, well, maybe there is something to this. Maybe there's something more to this. So I started going into, researching and finding all these things out, pyramids and all these things and ley lines and all the stuff that I'm seeing. Even the Skinwalker Ranch is something I'm like,
isn't that interesting? I would love to go to Skinwalker Ranch. I mean, you've got the shapeshifters, and then the UFO sightings, and out here. I live about my place is 100 feet above the bluff, 100 feet above the water. And a couple of years ago, at like 2 a.m, couldn't sleep, so went out on the deck back here, out on the deck back here, and I see this spotlight, and it's hanging. Okay, I'm 5 miles from the Quinault reservation, the Quinault Indian reservation. Okay. And out in the water, and I'll take pictures of them and send it. But there's these 2 rocks, and they're all one side. But I see this huge spotlight, and it's just hanging in between these 2 rocks. But I'm like, what is that? Because it was so low, but it was hovering. And I was like, what is going on here? So I went out and I tried to take pictures with my camera and stuff with my phone. Of course, they're gone. It's so upsetting. But anyway, I know I saw some weird stuff there. That was one time, and then a couple of times. Actually, recently, it was weird. There were a couple of there's a lot of what do you call them? Fishing boats, crabbing boats. They go way out there. They usually are way out on the horizon. Well, I want to say I think I have the picture I have the video that I took in my phone. I think it was in May or June. Anyway, I'm watching out my back window here, and I see, there's a ship out there, and I see him, and he keeps putting his light on so bright that it looked like there was the spotlight like right outside my door. That's how bright the spotlight was. I mean, I'm 100 feet above sea level, and then who knows how far from that. And he kept brightening it, and then lower. I'm like, what is? So I turned up and I'm watching. I'm like, what is going on? And I kid you not, within a minute, listen, I didn't hear any sound, didn't sound like any aircraft. There is no aircraft in my area. We are not in the aircraft. We're not in line with any aircraft. There's nothing.
Any flight paths,
no flight paths, okay? And this thing, I swear to God, it hovered over, this other light came and hovered over this thing for about a minute, maybe minute and a half, and then all of a sudden the light doused. And I kept waiting for it to come back on, and it didn't. So I don't know if it saw me out there with I don't know if it did. I was just right out here. Nobody can see me. I'm 100 feet above. I don't know. All I know is it was really weird. It's just like, and there's a Navy base that is, it's now it's vacation rentals, but there is a Navy base about a mile up the road, and they use it part-time.
Bremerton?
No, this is Pacific Beach.
Okay.
Pacific Beach, yeah. So anyway, very strange stuff going on. That's all I know. And yeah, so who knows?
Well, just with the UFOs and all that thing, how many planets have they discovered just this year alone?
Yeah.
I mean, around all these stars. The arrogance of man to think that we're the only ones. And we're out looking for bacteria. I mean, come on, you know,
Right.
it really is. We don't know what's in our ocean, but we're out there looking for bacteria. And to me, that's just like the arrogance of man. That there's a what is they call that climate thing? Shh. Yeah. That yeah, and that we can somehow through tax dollars
give me a
save
break.
the planet. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it's the arrogance of
It's
man.
so stupid.
Yeah, and it is. But anyway,
I just can't with that. But
well, we're this is just like a BS session. This isn't.
Yeah, I know. How did this? I don't know. Well, it's fun, you know.
Yeah, it is.
Get it all out, you know. But yeah. So, well, did you want to know about paranormal stuff, Jason? Did you have any other questions?
You know, honestly, I mean, I was always into the paranormal thing, you know, and the ghosts because of the things that I've seen in my life.
Yeah.
I always knew that there was ghosts. I knew that, and I knew that there were spirits around us. I've always known that, but I was always, how do you capture those things? For that's my thing, is like, how do you record these things except your own experience?
Okay, I will tell you, there is I went, let's see, I did it for, it was right up, my sister died in 2006, so that's how I kind of got into it. Okay, and I like, okay, there's got to be some kind of a paranormal group, because I was watching all those shows. I watched Ghost Adventures, I watched Ghost Hunters. I'm like, I'm an investigator, I can do this. This can't be that hard, you know. And so I found a group out here, and you know, I have caught EVPs, and I have yet though to, you know, capture, you know, anything.
Apparition?
Yeah, I haven't, but I did have a couple of really weird unique experiences. There was one where we were in Eastern Washington, and there was a hotel, and they were renovating the second floor of it, and so that's why they started getting oh, I don't know how to fix that. Do you know how to fix it? Can you hear me?
Echoes, yeah.
Yeah, the echo. I don't know how to fix that. Anyway.
Okay, you're back. It looks like.
Am I back? Can you hear me now? It's kind of echoing, but I don't know what to do to fix it. But anyway, so we went over there, and because they were having a lot of experiences and stuff, and so we went overnight. They let us stay upstairs in the area, and then anyway, I was with another investigator in the basement, and it was an old, you know, boiler room, you know, one of those old, and the rest of it was like a basement with, you know, like all kinds of, you know, supplies and things like that. And I went to the threshold of this boiler room, and I was by myself. I mean, my other friend was, you know, passing away, and I felt this like web.
You're over the target.
Huh?
Just keeps going.
I know. I don't know how to fix that. Hold on.
There's nothing you can do about it. Sorry.
Can you?
Keep this train rolling.
Should I put earphones?
Oh, you're good.
No, you're getting echo because all three of our mics are probably open. So if you muted probably two of us in between, that may help with the echo. That's my guess.
That's possible.
I don't know how to do that. Wait a second. Oops. Hold on.
You don't echo on my end.
Okay.
You sound normal to me.
Are you? I'm echoing on your end, Jay.
Yeah.
Is that better? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Now I don't hear it. I don't know what I did. Okay. Anyway, so I just felt like a web, almost like a hand web, a web. And I looked, and I didn't see any. There's no webs or anything. So I don't know. She's like, you were touched, and I'm like, I don't know if I was touched, but it felt weird. And then the other one was just a very strange. We went up. Me and another investigator went upstairs to take a break, and the light like flickered faster than you could flick it on and off, that kind of a thing. But then in between us, there was like this swirling of like a cold air. Okay. And I was like, what's going on? And the other investigator I was with, she was a medium. My friend, actually, we're friends now, but Chris, she was a medium. And she's like, yeah, picking up a young boy. It went on for a good 5-7 minutes, and we had people coming up. What's going on? You know, it was crazy. So those were 2 experiences that I had, and other than that, I mean, I have caught EVPs, and it's fun. I mean, I like it. It's fun. It's a
Speaking
lot
of something strange, in Jason's daily tarot pull card, I think it was the first 2 or possibly 3 Jason videos.
Yeah, it's actually today's video too.
Today's video, I didn't see today's video, but the first 2, when Jason's going to pull the cards, like when he starts pulling the cards, it gets brighter. I mean, like the instant he starts pulling the cards, it was like the light brightened. It was so weird. I mean, it was cool. Yeah, and if he said it's the third video, wow, that's pretty cool. I gotta check that out.
Video.
I gotta check it out.
So I saw my first video. Yeah, there was orbs in that one too. And as soon as I started speaking about spirit and all that, orbs, people were like, "There's orbs around," and I'm like,
it was so weird.
That was in the comments. Yeah, it was in the comments.
Yeah, and Kristen too, which is so interesting. She gets that too. You'll see an orb, and Janine Morago. I don't know how to say it.
Yeah,
Ravens. Let's just go Ravens. It's all good.
Oh yeah, exactly. Queen of Ravens. That happens. Yes, she'll be doing a video because I subscribe to her, of course. And she, all of a sudden it'll just flow. I'm like, oh my God, there's orbs. It's crazy, but it's so cool. I just think that shows
every video that I've made and put out, literally, it's everything. I don't change my lighting. I don't do anything, and I'm just sitting. The moment, like you said, the moment I grab the cards, and I start shuffling, and I start to channel, like start to bring my guides in. As soon as I go to read and channel, the lights brighten. Every video. Like it's like I'm pulling the energy and then I just brighten it back. And it's brighter than it is before. So I feel like I'm definitely channeling that. And I've never had anything. I didn't believe it until people started pointing that out. I'm like, wow. Even Jay even mentioned, he's like, dude, I saw it again.
Yeah.
Same. Like, wow. And
that is so
every
cool.
And
people
in the
comments mentioned that. So
my thing, if he was drawing the energy, the light would have got lower. It got brighter. You know, I mean, that was the really cool thing for me. I mean, if he's using the energy, you would have think there would have been a dimming. No, it got brighter. I mean, that's kind of an eye opener. Honestly, that was really cool. That was
that's so neat. I know.
So
well,
now
speaking
it's
of
3 videos. Wow, I got to check out the third one.
Well, speaking of which, will you do a couple, pull some cards for the next 2 days? See what's going to happen in the world.
Sure.
Just do a general one real quick.
Okay.
What happens? See what the universe wants to say about, I don't know, us, our lives, our world, our spirit, I don't know, just what does the universe have in store for us the next 2 days? How about that? That's a good general for everybody.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry I keep reaching down. I have the big heads with me here.
That's okay.
They keep touching me and I keep reaching down and patting them. So
that's what I was doing earlier. Joey was doing that too. I'm like, okay, he finally.
Did you guys just hear that?
What?
Did you hear that? Did you hear that? It was
something.
It was a vibration. Was so loud in my ear right now. I was like,
here, I'll give you what it sounded like.
Oh my God!
I've heard it.
That's what I heard. It was right here though in my ear.
Wow.
F-I-S. Okay, that's what I'm sorry. See another.
It was
another
like
thing
it was like 2 buzzes. It was like 2 buzzes. Yeah.
That is amazing.
All right, so let me go. There we go. What does the universe have to say or want to say? How things are going to be for the next couple of days. Please and thank you. All right.
It did it. Did you see it?
No. Oh, yes, I just saw
it. Right there.
That is trippy.
There was
No,
there was a quick blip, and then when I
And then
said,
it
"Did
went
you
up
see it?" It
again.
went boom.
Yes, I saw it. Oh my gosh, that is trippy. That is crazy.
Wow.
It's gonna be echoed all over now.
I know.
How to fix that? I'm gonna have to like take some lessons. I just am learning how to use this StreamYard stuff.
I know.
All right, what I get right now, just for in the next couple of days, there's going to be some fulfillment. A lot of families are going to, and a lot of individuals are going to feel like things are going to start to come into motion. Things that have been planned, things that have been expanded on, things that have been just possibly coming towards us. Movement. We're going to see some movement that's going to bring us some fulfillment. The base of it, Ace of Cups. So your wishes come true. You're going to have possibly a new opportunity come, or something, some revelation is going to come that's going to be a gift. It's going to bring balance. It's going to bring possibility that you're going to be closer to possibly to another love or somebody that you're close to. You're actually going to bring more balance to your relationship. It's a gift. Something's coming to us. Something's going to come to us that's going to be tangible. It could be something that we've been wanting to hear, possibly about 2020 is what I feel possibly. But we're feeling trapped. We're feeling trapped with the things that have been going on. We feel like things are not happening, and we just don't know how to do. We feel trapped. We feel helpless. But there is a beautiful partnership. There's something going on in the background. It's a partnership that's going to bring balance to the world. It's very karmic. And this balance that's being brought in, this partnership is going to begin a new journey. It's a new journey for all of us. There is some conflict. There's some things that we're kind of weighing. There's some options that are going on. There's been a standstill possibly on this journey. But to trust your higher self, trust your intuition, the things that you feel. If you call into spirit, it's absolutely to listen to those feelings that you get into your heart center and to your soul. Be a leader. Continue to look forward. Keep your feet moving. Be strong in your convictions. The Emperor card came out, so possibly we could get some news. What I feel with President Trump.
Mr. T.
There's a lot of barriers people put up. They're very defensive, but it's been something that's been worked on. We have a lot of battle wounds because of this. It's been being worked on for some time, and we've been persistent. But this opportunity that's coming up is going to bring us some fulfillment. It's going to bring us some beauty. It's been delayed because the base of my deck is the Hangman. It's going to bring us spiritual. I feel it's going to bring us together spiritually. It's going to bring us together as a people in general, together to be loved, to love each other again. We're going to focus on that. We're going to focus on loving ourselves and loving others. And there is things going on in the background. As I've said, we've all felt in prison. We felt trapped, but that is changing. That conflict is changing. This is something that's very karmic, something that needs to take place. People need to find balance again. And that's what we're in the process of doing. The leader is coming. I feel like we might have some news possibly in the next few days, or something related to President Trump. Not saying it's going to be what everyone wants to hear, but I feel like it's something we're going to have some breakthroughs when it comes to that. And I feel like that's kind of what Spirit has for me at this point.
Good.
That's good.
The light flickered twice again, just so you know.
It did.
Twice.
Did it?
As you were talking, twice. It wasn't that big bright one like it was earlier, but
Earlier,
it did it. Telling you.
That's so cool. Well, thank you. Yeah. I really hope that things come full circle here. We need it at this. So.
And they will. And it may not be on our time that we all want. It's divine. It's God's divine timing. The devil has been working since the beginning of time,
right,
to destroy everything that's been created by God purposely. And he's using man as his tool to do that. And that's how he pulls us away from the light, by drawing us down to be, we need a fancy house, we need cars, we need to be like this person, we have instead of your own standard and what you feel and secured in, we're pushing to be like someone else. And what Spirit's telling me is that's taking time. we're unraveling a lot of things that have been not just a single ravel. What I'm seeing is multiple spins and spins like on top of each other. So what we're having to do is slowly peel and peel and peel and peel and peel. And that's what I feel. I see a banana. I see a banana and it's being peeled. We're just taking layer after layer, and we work our way down the banana by pieces until we're done and fulfilled. That's what I feel. That's what I get. And I feel like we're making progress. And to keep the faith, keep the vibration high is what Spirit's telling me. Keep it high in order for us to continue to push forward.
Yep. Amen on that. Yeah.
Thank you. Agreed.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Well, I think we'll end it there. I think we're good ending it.
Absolutely.
I still don't
Absolutely.
know why. Hold on a minute. I think, you know what? Is that better? Can you hear me?
You're not echoing. You're not echoing now.
I'm not echoing.
Now you are.
Am I echoing now? Am I echoing now?
No.
Okay, it's Jason's. I just turned your mic off.
Too much energy coming to you.
Too much
That's
energy.
what it is.
Oh my goodness. It's okay. It's all
not
good.
a bad thing.
Yeah. But yeah, I do think that Jason is right. We just need to like keep positive and, you know, keep our vibrations high and just like, and it's true. I think the light within us, we have to remember we are just individual sovereign beings, and we need to just, you know, go within and put our light out to the world. I mean, that's how I'm looking at it. And so, and I just want to mention really quickly, while you were doing that reading, this side of my brain is like tingling like you will not believe. And I don't know what that's all about, but it's very strange. And yeah, and I've been getting like ear ringing and that for like God, a few months now. Ear ringing in each ear. And I never had that before. So
You're unmuted, Jason.
What?
Jason's
So
unmuted.
I felt that. I feel like when I'm channeling, I feel tingles.
Yeah,
right. Like somebody's tingling. And sometimes it depends on what guides I'm working with. If somebody has strong guides, like when I channel for Kristen, when I read for her, I feel like my head is massaged. It's so strong. So I feel like we have similar guides, and I feel like maybe you're feeling the tingles because you may share a guide or two or 1,000. I don't know.
Okay.
I feel like our connections to these people that we're coming in contact, the universe is bringing us together for this reason, in order to enlighten each other and to open each other's gifts. Some of us just come together a little closer than others, like we say with Jay and Jason and Kristen and myself and Laura and, you know, and even you and Aspiring Alchemist, all of us have come together for a reason. And I feel like we are here to activate. I get activate. We're here to activate. And the only way we're going to do that is together. And I get together. So we're on a mission, and people need to realize it's a tough one. I know I can only speak for myself. I've been fighting this battle since the beginning of time, I feel. And I feel many of us probably have. There's some of us that are older souls than others, but I feel like the majority of us that are together now or coming together are old souls that have been around, have seen things. And I feel like we are I feel this is the final battle. I feel like we've been on the offensive now for the last couple of years. And I know that spiritually. I don't know how I know that, but I know for a fact that I am no longer hunted. And now we're hunting. And we're hunting for the darkness, and we're cornering it. And that's what it takes time to wrangle all this in and to push it into a corner so we can finally extinguish it and live in the light. And it's going to take some time. Have faith. And I know that's hard when people are like I lost my job. I'm going to lose my house, my car. Understandable. I believe me. I know people are having a hard time, but stay in the focus. By focusing on those materialistic things and the things that are going on, what it does is bring your vibration down, and the darkness loves it. Wants to attract you like a leech, suck you. So that's what I tell people. It's like a leech, and until you pull it off and let it go, it'll continue to drain you, and that's exactly what it does.
Yep.
So, but it's been amazing today. I really appreciate, kind of getting to know you a little bit and see a face
Yeah.
now. So
Definitely. Well, we'll do this again for sure. And thank you guys so much. It really means a lot to me that you guys decided to come on today.
Sure, no problem. I was having fun with it. I guess we kind of had a little itinerary, and we ended up bullshitting all of it. It was like pretty good. I enjoyed it. It was kind of like,
hey, flow.
Yeah, exactly. But
Listen,
Jason,
you
to
were
see
not
the
even
light brighten.
That's
I mean, I
all
saw it
there
in
is
real
to
time. It wasn't a video.
it.
It was real time. That was
I'm
amazing.
telling you, there's no Hollywood motion picture going on behind me. It's just me. So
Crazy. It was awesome. It was awesome. I love it.
that's what I'm here for. I'm here as a soldier of light, and I've been fighting this darkness for as long as eternity. So I know that I'm here to help spread the light for people, and however that may be. I know the universe will bring the people to me that need to be in front of me. And I wholeheartedly believe that, and I put out that good in the world, and I'm hoping that I get it in return. And that's always how I've lived my life. Always very with an integrity. I have that integrity is huge for me.
Yeah.
And I
Just
feel
try to
like
be a
there's
better
not enough
person.
of that. There's not enough of that in this world, and that's why I am hoping that we can change that. And so we are. We're going to change it. It's going to take a lot of effort and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that people don't realize that this has been going on for millennia, and we're changing. We're changing the outcome and the course of existence through the power of God. So that's a big mission, and welcome all you soldiers who are ready to put in the work. It's time to put in the work.
Hey, man. Patrol reporting for duty.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thanks, you guys. And
Thanks,
again,
guys.
I'll see you in the chat.
All right. Great seeing everybody. It was awesome.
Yes.
Absolutely. Soldier of Light out.
Thank you, my friend.
Over and out. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye. All right. Let's see if I did this